Evening all, welcome to, well, a bit of indulgence. This is Warhammer 40k Dawn of War Dark Crusade, the longest titled video game ever. Why am I playing this, you're asking yourself? Well, you know, with all the dust stuff and with all the stuff about FanFest and that, it's I've decided to kind of look once again at some of the games that I used to play way back when. I am obviously disappointed. People seem to think that I'm not disappointed about Dust going. Seriously, have you not watched my videos, bro? I'm pretty gutted about it, actually. I am and I'm not. I mean, it's just a shame that obviously such a good game is going to go to another platform, because that does mean the community's divided. I also think there's going to be kind of a bit of a waiting game as well, because, you know, if they'd have said, and it's released tomorrow, I think half of the audience would have probably not been too bothered about that. But because it's all a bit, like, quite far away, that caused a lot of issues. Anyway, playing this game, because this is probably one of the finest games I have ever played in my life, and I've even mentioned it many times. It wasn't included in certain lists that I've done for many reasons, but this has been one of those games that I think just exemplifies the RTS tradition. And the reason we're playing this is actually there's a bit of a reason for this. It's because, well, you'll see, we're going to look again at some of the games on PC that are coming through that are actually looking quite good. No, I'm not trying to persuade you that PC gaming is the PC master race. I couldn't give a monkey's. To me, I don't care what technology it is. It's the game that matters to me. Some people seem to get very tribal about these things. That's your right, Broseph. It's not mine. I would rather just play a good game. And this is a good game. This is it's an old game as well, but it is just a game that went on and on and on. Different revisions, more races added, more units added. And to this day, I just still think it's so much fun to play. And it is a true RTS, and we are playing the Imperial Guard. Firstly, if you have no idea what I'm talking about here, this is the Warhammer Games Workshop Warhammer 40k franchise. And it was done by probably the finest games company in the world, Relic. And it was just incredible, okay? And it's unfortunately THQ or TQH or whatever they're called. They've gone bust now. So this whole franchise, I think, has been bought by some God knows who. And let's hope this video even goes up, because who knows who controls the copyright to this now. To me, it's a game that I'm always going to play, I'm always going to love. And there were some significantly brilliant, awesome mods that came out for it. Particularly one called Lights of the Warp, which basically just created huge quantities of additional units. But I always play as the Guard, because I guess I empathize more with the Imperial Guard, a huge army of million strong, not billion strong probably, trillion strong, and they just get thrown into a meat grinder until everything's dead. I just love their mentality of bombard it until everything has stopped twitching. And that's something I relate to very much. Now, there is a reason I'm showing this, actually, because we are going to look at some more RTSs. Planetary Annihilation has now hit Gamma, and I've been playing it, and it's very good, so expect a video very soon. But with the move of Dust to the PC, it has rekindled my love of games that you only really find on the PC, and I think this is a prime example of it. I can't think of a single RTS that has come to console and worked. I know Command and Conquer came for a while. Red Alert, obviously that came through as well. Pretty terrible games, didn't really work. And I think this is a good example of where PC gaming, just because of its peripheral support, isn't too bad. So, you know, I don't know why. I guess I'm just keen to show you that PC gaming isn't all complete elitist knobheads. It is actually not too bad. And I think when you see games like this, I mean, this game is probably like £1 or $2 literally now. But it will give you days of entertainment. And again, getting to the bloody point, Pyrex, the reason I wanted to show you this was because I remembered it finally. This is one of these games that I hope actually inspires Legion somewhat. And let me explain why. You're saying, what? It's not an RTS? No, it's not. But there's something in here about base building that I think has been really good. Now, we're going to talk about this, and maybe we'll show it in another video. But the way this worked was it was just a campaign map. And it was multiple levels sewn together into a campaign map. And you went from region to region, and you fought. And what you do is you build a base, and then you extend from that base into the map and kill whatever's there. Now, that also means that when you're attacked, you then obviously go back into the map, and then there's your infrastructure there ready to be used. So if you spend the time and build up your infrastructure properly, you actually have a much better defending point. That's a Baneblade, by the way. That's the biggest tank ever, and it is brilliant. I was thinking about that as well. Why do we only have one size of tank currently? Surely the Amar would produce a god tank, which is literally a Baneblade in a golden, party hat. And I think this is, again, this is why it's important to play the games. I think a lot of games developers don't get the time to do this. Almost, if I ran a games development company, firstly, it would fail utterly because I'm terrible. But secondly, I'd probably say to everybody, take an hour out of your day and play other games. Because when you look at this game, there's just so many good ideas in here that they could have brought through. So, that base building piece. So as I take a district, maybe I could see it on an RTS map. It doesn't matter if I couldn't, but you could see some form of top-down, and then you could maybe place turrets. Now, I'm sure they can do that. You can place turrets to create a bit of a perimeter, blah-de-blah-de-blue. And I would just make it so that, then defending a district means something, because you could have some form of kind of RTS element there to build your defenses. You could then have obviously bases that you can build. I don't know, who knows? But I just think this is something that is sorely missed and needed, because this game, Dark Crusade particularly, it did it better than Soulstorm, which was actually the follow-on from this, because they realised that actually it was too difficult. You had to build your base from scratch every single fracking map, and I got bored of that after a while. Whereas in this game, Dark Crusade, you could build a huge base so that whenever somebody attacks you, you've got a massive advantage, because you've got all of the base structures there ready to go. Yeah, there's so many elements in old games that I just think could be used here. Let me throw another one. Let me just mention. They've already said about things like tournaments and things like that in Legion potentially being a thing they could do. So here's a question for you. In Mount and Blade Warman, why can't you then have some form of, champion system? So you can actually have a champion of the game, of your core. So that actually then you don't, and think about it, this would be then a brilliant idea, because it would enforce smaller corp sizes, because everybody wants to be the champion. And if you've got two dudes, that could start a bit of internal strife, blah, 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 blah. I think they need to add tools that break down bandwagons, because bandwagons form because most players are not very good at the game and they want to win. So they win by just naturally associating themselves with the guys who are good at the game. And that's a very true element of EVE and all these ones. So I think having some form of ranking system within an alliance, or even just you can only have one alliance champion, one corporation champion, one guy who gets boosted skill points. Now that would be good, wouldn't it? Yes, it's open to abuse. No, I don't care, because these are the things that I think they need to break the walls down, because when you have so many fervid egos splattered across the alliance, they only kind of they only kind of persist with it because everybody's equal. And I would ruin that for everybody. I would literally make EVE and leave Legion and Dust. I would make it so that, quite honestly, yes, you're part of a bandwagon, but you would be identified as a pathetic member of that bandwagon. You could have like a terrible, some form of ratio or some form of ability. Like, we could see how often you've logged on, or how many battles you've fought, how many you've lost. And maybe make that very front and center so that people can clearly see, well, you're the champion of this alliance because, dude, you fought 100 battles and you've won 90 of them. Whereas, some guy can't start smacking and saying, I'm part of the best alliance in the game and look at me. And then when you look at his stats, dude, you've never fought a single battle. Go sod off. That would be pretty awesome, wouldn't it? These are all things that I think I really would love to see within other games, not just Legion, but just other games. EVE particularly needs this, because there's a lot of smack talking, tards who just think that they are, because they're part of Alliance A or B, that makes them the best players in the game, and they can then, their cultural dominance of another group is significantly more than so. And I'd make it so there's some form of in-game statistics that can show how pathetic or good certain players are. It benefits CCP because obviously they can then show, hey, look, these guys are good, and this guy is a champion of this alliance because of this reason. I mean, that's a nice thing, isn't it? Kill boards started to do this way back. They started to actually say the top killer in the Corp, top killer in the Alliance, top 10, top 30. And that is interesting, because that's really where this idea comes from, because it started to create a kind of, I guess, a bit of animosity between people within an alliance, because you get some retard completely smacking the hell out of everybody, and then you'd say to them, dude, you've never killed anything. Who the hell do you think you are? You're chest beating about this alliance smacking some other alliance. You've never fought for us. So GTFO. It'd be pretty funny, wouldn't it? Right, and then there's further things. Look at this, customizations. So this is something, again, I'd like to see in Legion particularly, is something that maybe, once you keep a particular region for a while, or maybe if you kind of, hit particular targets, then you start to get personalizations and customizations to this kind of level. It's no different to officer gear, but I'd make it permanent. I'd make it a little emblem or a little rose or something stupid for your drop suit. Things like that. I know they're probably quite difficult to do, but it just enforces a real sense that people would play the game manically if you allowed somebody to put the picture of a dick butt on the back of your armor. People would just, if you said, right, you've got to log up 20,000 hours of play, you would do this. I know I would, because to get that dick butt, I would be playing this game crazily. So there we go. I know it's a bit of a strange one to show you today, but we're going to do a little bit of this. We're going to look back at some of the games that we've played before, or maybe some we haven't, and maybe just start to talk about some of the design features and the ideas and the mechanics within them. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.